Everyone expected Chun-Ming to awaken as a genius, but the magic array died beneath his feet. By sunset, the weakest captain in Yinhai City would discover that damage itself had stopped obeying the rules. And before the exam was over, monsters far above his level would learn why hitting him was useless. That morning was supposed to change Chun-Ming's entire life. The job awakening ceremony had gathered every graduating student in Yinhai City beneath one enormous hall. Families watched from the stands while instructors waited beside a glowing magic array. One by one, young people stepped forward and received the professions that would define their futures. Some became warriors. Some awakened as mages. Others received ordinary support professions and quietly accepted their limits. Chun-Ming was different before he even touched the platform. His mental potential had reached 19%. The previous school record had only been 12%. Teachers had spent years calling him the brightest student of his generation. The crowd expected an S-rank profession. A few even whispered that something greater might appear. Chun-Ming heard every prediction as he entered the center of the array. Light rose around his body. The runes beneath his feet began to rotate. Then the entire awakening suddenly stopped. Half the formation went dark. The remaining light faded like a candle starved of air. The instructor stared at the result with obvious pity. Chun-Ming had awakened the C-rank profession known as Shield Guardian. It was not useless, but compared with the expectations surrounding him, it felt almost humiliating. Whispers immediately spread through the hall. Some students laughed behind their hands. Others looked at Chun-Ming as though they were attending a funeral. A C-rank profession usually meant a C-rank first skill. It also meant fewer resources, weaker development, and a much lower ceiling. Yesterday, people had imagined Chun-Ming standing at the top of Yinhai City. Now, many believed his future had already ended. Chun-Ming did not argue. More importantly, he did not look disappointed. Hidden at the bottom of his personal panel was something nobody else could see. A charging bar had been following him for 3 full years. That morning, it displayed 99.99%. Chun-Ming had no idea what would happen when it reached completion. He only knew that the mysterious bar had appeared without explanation. No instructor could detect it. No examination instrument had ever reacted to it. And now it was almost full. Sun Yong approached before the surrounding laughter could become more annoying. He had awakened the B-rank profession Shadow Blade. For an ordinary student, that result was already excellent. Sun Yong immediately offered to team up with Chun-Ming. He promised to help his friend gain levels and survive the dangerous early stage. Chun-Ming appreciated the offer. Still, he told Sun Yong he needed time to think. Before making any plans, Chun-Ming wanted to know what that hidden charging bar contained. A sudden explosion of light pulled everyone's attention back toward the platform. Qinqiu had entered the awakening array. The formation did not merely glow for her. It erupted. Brilliant holy radiance filled the hall and forced several students to shield their eyes. When the result appeared, even the instructors fell silent. Qinqiu had awakened the SS rank profession Holy Radiant Angel. Yinhai Province had not seen an SS rank awakening in 10 years. Qinqiu had already broken record after record before the ceremony. Her new profession pushed her reputation beyond the level of ordinary geniuses. Excited voices filled the hall. Then someone remembered an awkward detail. Qinqiu and Chun-Ming technically belonged to the same team. The school had formed the Morning Light Squad before their awakenings. Chun-Ming was its captain. Qinyu was one of its members. So were Su Yuan and Zhang Yi. Su Yuan had just awakened the S-rank profession Battle Vanguard. Zhang Yi possessed the A-rank profession Tide Mage. Before today, those 4 had been grouped together because of their extraordinary potential. After awakening, the situation looked almost absurd. An SS-rank genius, an S-rank fighter, an A-rank mage, and a C-rank shield guardian sitting in the captain's position. Most students assumed Qinqiu would leave immediately. Chun-Ming barely listened to them. His attention remained fixed on the charging bar. For a moment, he considered disbanding the Morning Light Squad himself. The school had arranged the members. None of them had originally chosen one another. Then Chun-Ming remembered how much creating an official team cost. 40,000 gold was not a small amount. The school had paid that fee because Chun-Ming ranked first in mental potential. He had earned the privilege. He had created the team. He had chosen its name. Chun-Ming saw no reason to destroy it because other people suddenly considered him weak. Anyone who disliked his captaincy could simply leave. With that settled, he opened his profession panel. He was level 1. Most of his basic attributes stood at 10. His constitution, however, was much higher because of his shield guardian profession. His first profession skill was battle resilience. The C-rank passive allowed him to recover health even during combat. Useful, Chun-Ming admitted. but hardly enough to justify 3 years of mysterious waiting. Then a clear chime sounded inside his head. Charging progress reached 100%. Chunming's heartbeat instantly accelerated. 3 years of silence ended with a single notification. A special talent had been unlocked. Every 10 profession levels, Chunming would automatically receive 1 SSS grade skill. No rare book was required. No special resource was required. The SSS grade itself was guaranteed. Even an SSS rank profession holder could not guarantee every awakened skill would reach SSS grade. Chunming could. The system had also prepared an activation reward. He could immediately obtain 1 random SSS grade skill at maximum level. Chunming turned toward Sun Yong and casually asked whether profession skills had level limits. Sun Yong looked confused by the question. As far as he knew, nobody had ever completely maxed a powerful profession skill. Chunming's expression slowly changed. He claimed the activation reward. A new passive skill appeared on his panel. Its name was Absolute Defense. Chunming read the description once, then he read it again. If an enemy's relevant attributes were lower than his, its attack would cause 0 damage. If those attributes were higher, the result was still ridiculous. No matter how much stronger the enemy was, 1 successful hit could only remove 1 health point. 0 or 1. There was no third result. Traditional defense reduced incoming damage. Absolute defense simply rejected the normal calculation. Chunming stared at his constitution. Even at level 1, his health pool already gave him hundreds of points. A terrifying enemy might need hundreds of successful attacks just to threaten his life. During that time, battle resilience would continuously restore his health. The supposedly ordinary C-rank passive suddenly looked much more valuable. Absolute defense prevented meaningful damage. Battle resilience erased the tiny amount that remained. Chunming finally understood what he had received. This was not strong defense. It was a broken rule. Sun Yong had been calling his name for several seconds. Seeing Chunming frozen in place, he assumed his friend was devastated by the C-rank result. Sun Yong placed a hand on his shoulder and repeated his offer to help. Chunming refused again. This time he already had a reason. His fastest path was no longer fighting monsters near his own level. Chunming could challenge creatures ordinary level 1 awakeners would never approach. Absolute defense could keep him alive. But it could not protect a teammate standing beside him. If Sun Yong joined those fights, 1 mistake could kill him. Chunming therefore decided to level alone. Sun Yong stared at him as if he had completely lost his mind. New awakeners below level 5 were normally told to form teams. Solo combat at that stage was considered reckless even for high-rank professions. A C-rank shield guardian choosing to fight alone sounded like a death wish. Sun Yong eventually walked away shaking his head. He believed Chunming was still in shock. The head instructor soon delivered the final announcement. Their awakening ceremony was only the beginning. The national graduation examination would last 30 days. Every new awakener in the country would participate. Levels, dungeon results, combat performance, and overall rankings would determine their official evaluations. Guilds would study those evaluations. Companies would study them. Alliance departments would use them to recruit future members. A massive magic formation opened around the graduates. The 1-month examination officially began. While everyone rushed toward easy hunting zones, Chunming quietly walked toward a completely different future. He had barely left the ceremony grounds when Su Yuan and Zhang Yi blocked his path. Su Yuan adjusted his glasses and immediately told Chunming to surrender the captain position. He also wanted Chunming to leave the Morning Light Squad. Chunming stared at both of them. They were asking him to hand over the team he had created and then remove himself from it. His answer was simple. If they wanted to leave so badly, they had their own hands. Su Yuan argued that the squad did not belong to Chunming alone. Zhang Yi made the insult even clearer. She offered Chunming 1 gold coin to disappear. That pathetic offer revealed their real intention. They wanted the Morning Light Squad's official registration. More specifically, they wanted to use it to recruit Qin Shu. An SS-rank teammate could transform their futures. A C-rank captain, however, might make Qin Shu refuse. Su Yuan and Zhang Yi wanted Chunming gone before they approached her. Chunming did not bother debating them. He opened the team panel. 2 commands later, Su Yuan and Zhang Yi were removed from the squad. Su Yuan's face stiffened. Being kicked from a registered team was considered deeply insulting. Most people voluntarily withdrew when disagreements became serious. Chunming smiled and explained that he had simply helped them leave faster. Students nearby burst into excited whispers. Some admired his nerve. Most thought he had created dangerous enemies. Su Yuan was an S-rank battle vanguard. Zhang Yi was an A-rank tide mage. Making both of them furious on the first day seemed incredibly foolish. Su Yun warned Chun Ming not to meet him outside the city. The threat was obvious. Chun Ming watched them leave without changing expression. Then Qin Xiu appeared. Su Yun immediately forgot his anger. He hurried toward her and proudly introduced his S-rank profession. He asked Qin Xiu to form a team with him. Qin Xiu did not answer. She walked directly past Su Yuan. Then she stopped in front of Chun Ming. Her question silenced everyone nearby. Qin Xiu wanted to team up with him. An SS-rank Holy Radiant Angel had just invited a C-rank Shield Guardian. Even Chun Ming was confused. He asked why. Qin Xiu reminded him of the mental training techniques he had once taught her. Chun Ming had shared those methods casually when the school forced them to train together. Qin Xiu had never forgotten. She disliked owing people. Therefore, she offered to help Chun Ming reach level 10. Chun Ming considered the proposal carefully. At level 10, his hidden talent would grant another guaranteed SSS grade skill. His greatest weakness was currently attack power. A second SS skill might solve that problem. An SS rank partner would also make future dungeon runs much faster. Chun Ming accepted Qin Xiu's invitation with one condition. He wanted to hunt alone first. They could formally cooperate once dungeon challenges became available. Qin Xiu agreed. She left as quietly as she had arrived. The crowd remained frozen. A C rank and an SS rank now stood inside the same team. Nobody knew whether to call the combination foolish or terrifying. Su Yuan looked as though he wanted the ground to swallow him. Chun Ming ignored him and headed toward the camps outside Yinhai City. Thousands of new awakeners were buying weapons and forming parties. Merchants shouted from temporary stalls. Guild representatives displayed basic equipment. Chun Ming entered an Abyss Guild shop and spent half his savings on a long blade. The weapon increased his strength. He wanted armor as well. His remaining money made that impossible. Several low-level fighters tried to recruit him as he left. A shield guardian was useful even at C rank. Someone had to stand in front and absorb monster attacks. One C-rank mage even offered to become his permanent leveling partner. Chun Ming rejected every invitation. The nearby awakeners found his choices increasingly strange. A defensive profession was going solo. He had purchased strength equipment instead of defensive gear. To them, Chun Ming looked like a failed genius desperately protecting his pride. They had no idea that traditional defense had become almost meaningless to him. Chun Ming left Yinhai City and opened his regional map. Years of exploration had identified several safe hunting zones near the city. He selected Breezewood Forest. Green grass rolled beneath a steady wind. Mist covered distant valleys. The peaceful scenery lasted until a sharp cry came from the grass. A round creature covered in spikes burst into view. It was a level 1 spike roller beast. These monsters attacked by curling into balls and charging at high speed. Their defense was low. Their speed made them difficult for beginners to dodge. Chun Ming had no intention of dodging. The creature became a spinning mass of spikes. It slammed directly into him. Sharp fragments struck his clothes and skin. A damage value appeared. 0. Chun Ming felt nothing more than a faint tickle. His clothes tore. His body did not. Absolute defense was working exactly as described. The monster's strength was below his defensive calculation. It literally could not hurt him. Chun Ming relaxed and swung his blade. His normal strikes were not impressive. But unlike the monster, every one of his attacks removed health. When Chun Ming found a weak point, his damage doubled. The spike roller beast became enraged. Its eyes turned red. Its spikes trembled. It activated Whirlwind Roll and attacked from Chun Ming's blind side. The spinning body crashed into his waist. 0 damage. Chun Ming laughed. The beast threw everything it possessed at him. His health bar never moved. Only one side was losing this battle. Chun Ming ended the fight with a final slash. The monster dropped a Wind Beast core. Beast cores could be sold to guilds or used for crafting. They were one of the main sources of income for awakeners. Chun Ming checked his own health. It remained completely full. Normally, early leveling speed was limited by recovery. Fighters took damage. They retreated. They rested. Then they returned to hunt again. Chun Ming had just removed the most time-consuming part of that cycle. A level 1 beast granted only a small amount of experience. He calculated how many kills were needed for level 2. At this pace, he could still level before the day ended. But ordinary level 1 monsters already felt inefficient. Chun Ming walked deeper into Breezewood Forest. Other students hunted in pairs around him. They carefully pulled one beast away from each group. They avoided unnecessary injuries. Chun Ming did the exact opposite. 3 spike roller beasts suddenly surrounded him. Most beginner teams would have withdrawn. Chun Ming charged forward. 2 level 1 beasts attacked first. 0 damage. Chun Ming cut across both of them. Then something struck his back. 1 damage. Chun Ming turned around. The third creature was larger. It was level 2. At least one of its combat attributes exceeded Chun Ming's. Absolute defense therefore allowed it to cause damage. Exactly 1 point. Chun Ming immediately ignored the two weaker monsters. They clawed uselessly at his back while he focused on the level 2 beast. His blade caused less damage against its stronger body. That did not matter. The creature needed hundreds of hits to place Chun Ming in danger. Chun Ming only needed enough time to wear it down. Two nearby fighters noticed the battle. At first they thought Chun Ming was being mauled. They rushed over to help. Then both men stopped. One C-rank shield guardian was fighting 3 monsters alone. He was not dodging. He was not retreating. He looked almost bored. The 2 level 1 beasts continued attacking his back. Chun Ming calmly swung at the level 2 target. One of the watching fighters nervously asked whether he needed assistance. Chun Ming answered while continuing to attack. He was fine. The level 2 beast entered a berserk state. It charged twice and landed 2 clean hits. Chun Ming lost 2 health points. He did not even flinch. 2 more slashes finished the monster. The experience reward was more than double that of a level 1 beast. Something else dropped beside the core. A strength runestone. Equipment in this world served as a vessel for runestones. Better equipment could contain more. Chun Ming immediately inserted the stone into his long blade. His strength increased. He completed the entire process while the remaining monsters were still hitting him. The 2 observers no longer knew what to say. Chun Ming checked his health. The level 2 battle had cost surprisingly little. His recovery would soon restore the missing points. Chun Ming made a new decision. Level 1 beasts were no longer worth his time. From that moment onward, he would hunt level 2 targets. He simply walked away from the 2 weaker monsters. They followed him briefly before falling behind. The 2 students who witnessed the battle remained silent. Later, a strange nickname began spreading through the hunting zone. Someone had seen an SSS rank human titan in Breezewood Forest. The rumor was ridiculous. The person they were describing was officially C rank. Chun Ming continued hunting for 3 straight hours. Spike beasts fell. Leaf mice fell. Anything near level 2 became experience. Then the level up chime sounded. Chun Ming reached level 2. His constitution increased sharply. His recovery attribute rose as well. Even battle resilience gained progress. The fatigue in Chun Ming's body seemed to wash away. Reaching level 2 in less than half a day was already extraordinary. Only the fastest high-rank awakeners could normally maintain that pace. Chun Ming had done it with a C-rank profession and no active attack skill. His original goal for the first day had been level 2. He immediately abandoned that goal. Now he wanted level 3. Chun Ming advanced toward the edge of Breezewood Forest's safe zone. Several weak beasts followed and attacked him along the way. Their attacks caused 0 damage. He eventually stopped paying attention to them. Beyond the safe boundary stood the real beast forest. Ancient trees blocked the sunlight. Heavy fog filled the valleys. The examination guide specifically warned beginners not to enter. Chun Ming stepped across the boundary. The weak monsters following him instantly stopped. Then they scattered. Something inside the deeper forest frightened them more than Chun Ming ever could. The valley became unnaturally quiet. No birds called. No insects moved. A heavy body suddenly crashed through the trees. Chun Ming saw a level 3 red tusk boar. The monster was almost the size of a small hill. Red fur glowed across its massive body. 2 long tusks curved from its jaw. The boar stared at Chun Ming. To his annoyance, the creature almost seemed disappointed. A pig had just looked down on him. Chun Ming drew his blade. The red tusk boar charged. 1 tusk scraped Chun Ming's arm. 1 damage. Chun Ming struck back. After that exchange, the monster began circling him. It moved slowly, almost like a predator playing with trapped prey. Chun Ming became irritated. He placed 1 hand behind his back. Holding his blade with the other, he motioned for the beast to attack. The red tusk boar exploded with rage. Crimson energy wrapped around its body. It activated Crimson Charge. A red blur crossed the valley. The boar slammed into Chun Ming's chest hard enough to shake the ground. 1 damage. The monster bounced backward as though it had struck a wall. Chun Ming attacked while it was disoriented. 3 slashes opened new wounds. The boar charged again. 1 damage. Chun Ming finally identified a weak point around its hind legs. His damage immediately improved. The battle became brutally repetitive. The boar charged with everything it had. Chun Ming lost 1 health point. Chun Ming cut the monster again. Eventually, the red tusk boar collapsed. It granted far more experience than the creatures of Breezewood Forest. A level 3 core dropped beside a Constitution runestone. Chun Ming could not use the rune yet. He owned no Constitution equipment. Selling his collected beast cores would solve that problem later. Chun Ming calculated the experience remaining before level 3. 7 or 8 similar beasts should be enough. at his current pace reaching level 3 before night was possible. He continued into the forest. Spirit stone monkeys attacked. Triangular lizards attacked. Earth moles tried to ambush him. Every battle followed the same impossible rule. The beasts could barely damage Chunming. Chunming slowly carved away their health. Deeper monsters also dropped runestones more frequently. Another strength stone entered his blade. Chunming's attack power continued rising. He began thinking about how well absolute defense would scale. Every level increased his constitution. More constitution meant a larger health pool. Yet an enemy above his attributes would still cause only 1 damage per hit. At level 10, Chunming might possess thousands upon thousands of health points. At higher levels, the number would become even more absurd. Battle resilience would grow alongside him. The combination could eventually make killing Chunming almost impossible. A C-rank passive that others overlooked had become perfect beside absolute defense. A cold sensation suddenly passed above Chunming's head. His instinct screamed. He jumped sideways. A twisted shadow fell from the trees where he had been standing. 2 heads rose from a long blue-green body. Pale yellow eyes focused on Chunming. It was a level 4 2-headed rattlesnake. The monster possessed poisonous attacks. That detail finally made Chunming cautious. Poison was the traditional nightmare of defensive professions. Armor could stop blades. Shields could stop claws. Venom entered the body and destroyed it from within. The snake had already nicked Chunming's arm during its ambush. He had lost 1 health point. Chunming watched the wound. The snake watched as well. Its entire hunting method depended on one sequence: ambush, inject venom, wait for the victim to weaken. 1 minute passed. Nothing happened. No poison damage appeared. No weakness spread through Chunming's body. His natural recovery closed the tiny wound. The venom had never taken effect. Chunming finally understood another part of absolute defense. It did not merely protect his skin. If a harmful effect failed to penetrate his defense, that effect simply disappeared. Even poison could be rejected. Chunming smiled. The ugly snake suddenly looked much less threatening. It still had to die. Chunming charged. Fighting 2 levels above his own reduced his damage. His blade cut the snake again and again. The monster repeatedly bit him. 1 damage. Then it moved away and waited. The poison never activated. Confusion gradually replaced the killing intent in its 4 eyes. The snake injected more venom. Nothing. It tried again. Nothing. Eventually, the 2-headed rattlesnake exhausted its venom reserves. Its combat ability dropped immediately. Chunming continued attacking. Battle resilience restored health during the long fight. By the final stage, Chunming was healthier than he had been minutes earlier. 2 clean strikes ended the monster. A level 4 beast core dropped. Then another object appeared. Chunming's eyes widened. It was a dungeon token. Some adventurers hunted for an entire year without finding one. This particular item was a comprehensive wild dungeon token. Activating it would reveal a one-time dungeon somewhere in the surrounding region. Wild dungeons were more dangerous than known permanent dungeons. Their information was incomplete. Their rewards, however, could be extraordinary. Chunming activated the token. A hidden location appeared on his map. It was far from his current position. Chunming decided to wait until level 5. Dungeon entry became available at that threshold. He returned to hunting. More level 3 beasts fell beneath his blade. The sunlight slowly began to fade. Chunming found himself 1 kill away from level 3. Then a black armor rhinoceros appeared. The creature was level 5. Thick black plates covered its entire body. Chunming tested his blade against the armor. The damage was terrible. The rhinoceros struck him. 1 damage. Chunming knew he could technically win. He also knew the battle might last far too long. Hundreds of attacks could eventually drain even his enormous advantage. For the first time that day, Chunming chose retreat. Absolute defense had not made him stupid. He left the rhinoceros behind. 1 final blue-striped weasel crossed his path. Chunming killed it. The level-up chime rang. He had reached level 3. His hands were numb from swinging a blade all day. Yet Chunming had gained 2 full levels on his first examination day. He expected a top placement. His constitution had increased dramatically. His recovery was stronger. Battle resilience had also improved. Chunming finally headed back toward Yinhai City. On the road, he encountered Qin Xiu and another young woman. Qin Xiu wore shining armor and carried a long sword. She already looked like a true high-level warrior. Then both women stared strangely at Chunming. He followed their eyes downward. His clothing was almost completely destroyed. Chunming had spent the entire day allowing monsters to hit him. His skin remained unharmed. His outfit had received no such protection. In the evening wind, Yinhai City's second-ranked candidate looked like a wandering beggar. Qinxiu actually laughed. She covered her mouth and cast Angel's Blessing. Soft golden light wrapped around Chunming. Illusory wings formed behind his back. The blessing increased the attributes of team members. More importantly, at that moment, the holy light covered Chunming's ruined clothes. Chunming silently decided SS rank professions were extremely convenient. During the walk back, Qin asked whether he had truly hunted alone. Chunming confirmed it. Qin became quiet. Then she shared an important piece of information. Mental potential did more than increase mana and perception. At 20%, an awakener might gain the chance to awaken a mental skill. Such awakenings were extremely rare. Reaching 20% was only the first requirement. Most candidates also needed valuable mental resources. Those resources were difficult to purchase. The graduation examination offered one of the best chances to obtain them. Daily rankings gave rewards. Dungeon rankings gave rewards. Final placement offered even greater resources. Qin Shu believed Chunming's 19% mental potential was too valuable to waste. If he ranked high enough, this month might completely change his future. Chunming thanked her. The information immediately changed the meaning of his rapid leveling. Ranking was no longer about reputation. Rare mental resources might unlock an entirely new power. They reached the camps outside Yinhai City. Exhausted awakeners filled the area. Most teams had not reached level 2. Several fighters were injured. Rumors of deaths had already begun spreading. Su Yuan and Zhang Yi stood among a crowd of admirers. People praised Su Yuan's S-rank profession. Someone loudly asked why he had not partnered with Qin Shu. Su Yuan's expression became rigid. Then Qin Shu entered the city beside Chunming. Angel's blessing still covered him in radiant feathers. Everyone saw the two speaking together. The rumor from that morning suddenly became undeniable. The SS rank genius really was connected to the C rank captain. Chunming found Sun Yang near the guild entrance. Sun Yang proudly announced that he had reached level 2. Chunming congratulated him. Sun Yang naturally asked about Chunming's level. Chunming answered honestly. Level 3. Sun Yang's face twitched. He did not believe a single word. Before he could deliver another concerned lecture, the first day rankings appeared. A giant projection formed above the camp. Hundreds of names began displaying. Only a limited number of participants had reached level 2. Just 2 people in all of Yinhai City had reached level 3. The previous year's examination had produced nobody at level 3 on the first day. Sun Yang discovered his name near the top 100. He nearly exploded with happiness. For an ordinary B-rank awakener, the result was worth celebrating. Chunming promised to help him earn dungeon ranking rewards later. The higher placements continued appearing. Zhang Yi had missed the top 10. Her disappointment was obvious. Su Yan ranked 6th. The S-rank battle vanguard looked even less pleased. Everyone had expected him to challenge for the top 3. 2 other S-rank candidates occupied 4th and 5th. Their Abyss squad combination was considered excellent. 3rd place belonged to Lin Wei. She was an A-rank contract master. Then the top 2 names appeared. Qinshu stood in 1st place. Level 3. S-rank Holy Radiant Angel. Morning Light Squad. Nobody found that result surprising. The second name created absolute silence. Chunming. Level 3. C-rank Shield Guardian. Morning Light Squad. Nearly 1,000 people stared at the ranking. A C-rank awakener had surpassed every S-rank candidate in Yinhai City. Sun Yang's mouth remained open. Minutes earlier, he had prepared to explain reality to his friend. Reality had just slapped him instead. Chunming calmly reminded Sun Yang that he had already told him the truth. The crowd searched for an explanation. Most decided Qin Shu must have carried Chunming. They imagined her killing monsters while Chunming collected experience. A few witnesses from Breezewood Forest tried to argue. Their voices disappeared beneath the louder rumor. Qin Shu herself knew the theory was false. She had spent the entire day with Lin Wei. Lin Wei knew as well. Chunming had reached level 3 alone. Neither woman understood how. The examination rewards soon appeared. Chunming received gold. He gained high-quality equipment. Attribute rune stones became available. Equipment empowerment books were included. Most importantly, he could choose a rare resource. Chunming selected Shadow Guard armor. The equipment greatly increased constitution. He also chose feathered boots. The boots improved agility. Chunming then examined the empowerment options. Armor penetration looked useful. Accuracy looked useful. Several elemental enhancements were equally tempting. He could not take everything. Chunming reminded himself that future rankings would provide more opportunities. He empowered the feathered boots with Sprint. The active effect could temporarily double his agility. His Shadow Guard armor received Stealth. Sprint and Stealth created several possibilities. Chunming could approach dangerous monsters unseen. He could also escape if a battle finally became impossible. After equipping everything, his attributes rose sharply. His constitution became even more absurd for his level. His agility was no longer painfully low. Then Chunming opened the rare resource list. Sun Young hovered nearby, almost more excited than the actual reward recipient. Physical resources filled the selection. Earth spirit stones, spirit mushrooms, jade cloud fruits. Chunming ignored them when he noticed one tiny white crystal. It was a mind crystal, a mental energy material, exactly what Qin Xiu had described. Chunming chose it immediately. The crystal appeared on his palm. It was only the size of a fingernail. Sun Young looked disappointed. He had expected rare resources to resemble legendary treasures. The mind crystal looked like a glowing pebble. Chunming reminded him that valuable things did not always look impressive. He then entered the guild and emptied his beast cores onto the counter. The clerk initially assumed they were level 1 materials. Her first offer was insultingly low. Chunming asked her to check again. The clerk's expression changed. She found level 2 cores, then level 3 cores. Finally, she discovered the core of a level 4 two-headed rattlesnake. A first-day participant was not supposed to be hunting level 4 beasts. The clerk apologized and recalculated the price. Chunming spent most of the money on strength runestones. The guild's markup made him painfully aware of how quickly gold disappeared. Still, the stones increased his attack power. Chunming returned to his small home alone. His family had died during a beast disaster 10 years earlier. There was nobody waiting for him. He washed away the blood and dirt from the forest. His body felt surprisingly healthy. His mind was exhausted. Fighting continuously for hours created mental fatigue even when absolute defense protected his flesh. Chunming checked the news before training. Yinhai City's examination dominated the local network. The top trending topics all involved his name. One discussed the C-rank candidate who reached second place. Another focused on his partnership with Qin Xiu. The third speculated wildly about their relationship. Chunming's group chats were filled with messages. People suddenly wanted to join the Morning Light Squad. He ignored them. The national news was far more interesting. An SS rank prophet called Master Bei had released his once-in-a-decade prediction. He claimed an era of heroes was approaching. More powerful professions would awaken than ever before. His second prediction was even stranger. Blue Star would eventually make contact with extraterrestrial civilizations. Chunming was skeptical. Humanity had not fully controlled its own world. Beasts still occupied enormous regions. Dangerous dungeons filled the sky and wilderness. Space sounded impossibly distant. Then Chunming examined the other national reports. SS rank awakeners had appeared for the first time in decades. A massive star dungeon had been discovered. Several provinces reported unusually high numbers of S-rank professions. The Lighthouse Alliance even claimed it had contacted aliens. The coincidences were uncomfortable. Chunming put the phone away. Those problems belonged to people far above his current level. His immediate concern rested on his fingertip. The mind crystal emitted a faint glow. Chunming probed it with mental energy. At 19% potential, he could not properly understand the resource. 20% remained the critical threshold. Qin Xiu had spoken about mental skills with unusual seriousness. An SS-rank genius believed they could change a person's fate. Chunming had every reason to pursue one. He began meditating. Mental potential improved through constant practice. Higher mental strength also increased mana and skill performance. Chunming trained through the entire night. After passing 10% mental potential, deep meditation could replace ordinary sleep. Warm energy moved through his consciousness. The exhaustion from the forest gradually disappeared. Chunming lost track of time. Outside his home, the second examination day began. Thousands of candidates returned to the hunting zones. Chunming's first day result had already reached the provincial authorities. High above the city border, several important figures gathered. A provincial inspector had arrived for a special alliance assessment. A mechanical crow rested on his shoulder and often spoke on his behalf. Only 2 team positions were available for the entire province. School principals immediately began considering how to control those opportunities. The principals of the 3rd and 5th schools supported the Abyss Squad. Their own descendants were S-rank members of that team. Both men wanted Qin Xiu to join them. An SS rank combined with multiple S ranks sounded almost unbeatable. They pressured Principal Zhao from Chunming's school. In their eyes, allowing Qin Xiu to remain beside a C rank was a waste. Other cities would bring complete S rank teams. Yinhai City needed its strongest professions together. They confidently predicted Qin Xiu would eventually abandon Chunming. Principal Zhao remained quiet. He could not easily challenge their logic. Yet something about Chunming's ranking made him hesitate. Inside his home, Chunming finally opened his eyes. His mental potential had reached 20%. 2 immediate changes appeared. The first was mental space. A small pocket dimension now existed inside Chunming's consciousness. It was roughly the size of a room. He could store objects through thought alone. Chunming tested the ability with his sword. The weapon vanished from his hand. It appeared safely inside mental space. No more bags filled with equipment. No more carrying beast cores through the forest. The second change affected mental probing. Chunming's perception expanded dramatically. Dust floating through the air became clearly visible. Tiny movements in the curtains caught his attention. The world seemed filled with details he had previously missed. Then a third surprise appeared. His panel asked whether he wanted to awaken a mental skill immediately. No special ritual was required. No further condition appeared. Chunming only needed to choose. Other people struggled for a small chance after reaching 20%. Chunming's opportunity had activated automatically. He almost laughed. Instead of accepting immediately, he took out the mind crystal. Chunming absorbed its mental energy. Pure attribute power entered his consciousness. The sensation was extraordinary, yet the amount felt tiny compared with the empty capacity inside him. Chunming formed a theory. Rare resources probably affected the quality of an awakened mental skill. If that theory was correct, awakening immediately would be wasteful. Chunming wanted the strongest possible result. He decided to wait. The problem was that his training had consumed the entire morning. When Chunming checked the time, it was already late. Half the second examination day was disappearing. He rushed toward the city outskirts. Candidates noticed his arrival immediately. Everyone else had begun hunting early. Chunming appeared near noon. The crowd assumed Qin Shu had finally abandoned him. Some believed his first-day ranking had destroyed his sense of reality. Others openly laughed. In the observation building, the school principals noticed Chunming as well. The provincial inspector studied him. Chunming suddenly sensed a powerful presence. He looked toward the building. The sensation vanished. The inspector had discovered what the principals missed. Chunming's mental potential had already reached 20%. That fact earned the C-rank candidate a second look. Chunming entered Breezewood Forest alone. Spectators sighed. They imagined him hunting weak level 1 monsters. Nobody saw Chunming pass straight through the safe zone. His weapon was now filled with strength rune stones. Basic equipment had a limited rune capacity. Chunming would soon need higher quality gear. Fine equipment could hold more stones. Epic equipment could hold even more. Legendary and mythic items were far beyond his current reach. Chunming had lost half the day. He planned to compensate with dangerous targets. Level 5 was his goal before night. Another top 3 ranking would provide more rare resources. Chunming checked his attributes. Shadow Guard armor had pushed his constitution far upward. Feathered boots improved agility. Runestones strengthened his blade. His mental power had increased after reaching 20% potential. His greatest weakness remained defense. Chunming still possessed no active profession attack skill. 3 future opportunities might change that. 1 mental skill waited to be awakened. 2 profession skills would arrive when his hidden talent activated at level 10. At least one of them needed to solve his attack problem. Chunming sensed movement before a monster appeared. A gale mantis hid among the trees. Before his mental breakthrough, the beast would have ambushed him first. Now Chunming detected it immediately. He launched himself from a tree trunk. His sword appeared from mental space. The blade drove directly into the mantis's eye. A weak point strike landed before the creature could react. The level 5 beast screamed. Its razor-like arms struck Chunming's neck. 1 damage. The mantis froze. Chunming attacked its eyes again. Mental probing made the monster's movements look slower. His body could not perfectly follow everything his mind detected. Absolute defense covered that weakness. The Gale Mantis eventually tried to escape. Chunming cut off its head. The experience reward was excellent. He immediately began searching for level 6 targets. The difference between levels 5 and 6 barely mattered to absolute defense. 4 silverback monkeys soon surrounded Chunming on a hillside. Each creature stood nearly 2 meters tall. Their silver fists were enormous. Chunming did not hide. He selected 1 target and attacked. 4 monsters hammered his body. 1 damage, 1 damage, 1 damage. Chunming continued cutting weak points. The first monkey fell. The remaining 3 became berserk. 1 leaped high into the air. Both fists crashed downward. The earth shook. Dirt filled the hillside. Chunming lost 1 health point. Before the dust cleared, his blade had already reached the second monkey. He killed the creatures one after another. The group provided hundreds of experience points. Chunming checked his health. Fighting 4 level 6 beasts had removed less than 1/10 of it. 2 more successful battles could push him toward level 5. He continued in the direction of the wild dungeon. 2 strange creatures appeared ahead. A giant frog fought a plant monster covered in vines. The plant's flower-shaped head was filled with teeth. The frog was already badly injured. Chunming recognized free experience when he saw it. His sword emerged from mental space. One rush carried him into the battle. Chunming severed the frog's head. The plant monster immediately attacked him. Chunming had stolen its prey. Vines whipped through the air. A dark red gas poured from the flower head. Every ordinary plant touched by the cloud withered. The attack was obviously poisonous. Chunming inhaled the gas. Nothing happened. Absolute defense rejected the poison. Chunming hacked through the monster's vines. Then he split the flower head apart. Another experience reward entered his panel. The level up notification sounded. Chunming reached level 4. His constitution rose again. His recovery became stronger. Battle resilience continued improving. Against an ordinary level 6 beast, Chunming could now finish a fight healthier than he began it. Realizing how difficult he had become to kill Chunming, stopped searching for monsters and started inviting them. He deliberately made noise while advancing through the forest. The plan worked. Level 7 frost foxes appeared. Wild bulls charged from the trees. Black-scaled lizards followed the disturbance. Chunming fought everything. Each high-level beast granted enormous experience compared with ordinary targets. Other candidates stayed near monsters of their own level because one mistake could mean death. A level 7 beast still caused only 1 damage to Chunming. His experience bar climbed rapidly. Chunming inserted another agility runestone into his boots. Then his stomach reminded him of a weakness absolute defense could not remove. He was starving. Level 4 was nowhere near high enough to ignore food. Chunming remembered how hunger had damaged his concentration the previous day. He pulled a lighter from mental space. Soon part of a wild bull was roasting over a small fire. Strange beast meat was surprisingly delicious. Chunming needed no complicated seasoning. He had barely started enjoying the meal when 2 monsters approached. One was a golden-furred mouse. The other was another wild bull. Chunming glanced at the bull. Then he glanced at the roasted meat in his hand. He expected the creature to become furious. The bull simply stared at the food. It almost seemed hungry. Neither beast considered a level 4 human worth immediate attention. Instead, they turned on each other. Chunming sat down. He continued eating while 2 level 7 monsters fought only a few meters away. Anyone witnessing the scene would have called him insane. 10 minutes later, Chunming finished his meal. He stood. He picked up his sword. Then he decided to settle the monsters' disagreement. The injured golden-furred mouse died first. The wild bull followed. Both creatures had already weakened each other. The experience rewards pushed Chunming across another threshold. Level 5. Dungeon entry was finally available. Chunming checked the comprehensive dungeon marker. The location was close. 15 minutes later, he reached a massive crack in the landscape. The ground dropped into an enormous crater. Thick fog hid the bottom. Chunming could not see how deep it was. He jumped. Cold mist rushed past him. The fall seemed endless. Chunming finally struck the ground. 1 damage? He stood and looked around. A shimmering curtain of light waited between 2 enormous rocks. The dungeon token began glowing. Light wrapped around Chunming. The world changed. He had entered the Union Mountain Stream dungeon. It was a mixed comprehensive challenge and treasure hunt. Chunming needed to collect 10 rare energy materials. He also needed to defeat 5 guardian beasts. The time limit was 1 full day. Chunming activated mental probing. What he detected almost made him choke. 3 rare resource plants stood within a short distance. 1 strengthened recovery. 1 contained fire energy. The third increased constitution. Chunming absorbed the recovery resource. His attribute increased. He absorbed the constitution flower. His already ridiculous health potential became even greater. Chunming kept the fire fruit. Elemental resources could influence future skill awakenings. He did not want to commit to fire without more information. The fruit entered mental space. Chunming had already collected 3 of the 10 required resources. He had barely entered the canyon. Cliffs towered on both sides. Strange plants covered the dungeon floor. Chunming knew he had found an extraordinary opportunity. He continued exploring. Another medicinal grass appeared. Mental probing revealed impure energy inside it. The plant was highly poisonous. Chunming ate it anyway. His recovery attribute increased. Poison remained meaningless against absolute defense. A wind whisper, orchid, appeared farther ahead. The plant carried concentrated wind energy and could improve agility. Chunming reached toward it. Something attacked from the fog. The creature was fast, almost invisible. Chunming swung before thinking. His instincts had changed after so many battles. The attacker was a level 7 wind spirit. It belonged to the special category known as strange beasts. Such creatures were far stronger than ordinary monsters of the same level. Wind blades filled the canyon. Transparent needles struck Chunming from multiple directions. Sonic attacks disturbed his concentration. One damage appeared repeatedly. The real difficulty was not surviving. Chunming needed to catch the creature. The wind spirit moved like torn cloth inside a storm. His normal agility could not keep up. Chunming activated sprint. The feathered boots doubled his agility. His body shot forward. Chunming chased the wind spirit across the canyon walls. He changed directions in midair. He landed clean strike after clean strike. Half a minute later, the strange beast died. It granted far more experience than ordinary level 7 monsters. Its drops were equally unusual. A beast core appeared. 2 agility runestones followed. Then Chunming found a tier 1 crystal. Such crystals could upgrade equipment to a higher tier. They normally appeared as dungeon completion rewards. Finding one on a guardian beast proved the dungeon was special. Chunming stored the crystal. His current equipment could not use it yet. He inserted the agility stones into his boots. The Wind Whisper Orchid also entered mental space. 1 guardian beast was dead. 4 remained. Chunming had no intention of leaving. With 20% mental potential, he could remain active for days through meditation. He would clear the entire dungeon. Back in Yinhai City, most candidates were celebrating level 2. Chunming was already level 5 inside a wild dungeon. He was fighting strange beasts. He was collecting rare resources by the handful. News spread that the Abyss Squad had purchased wild dungeon tokens for enormous sums. Ordinary candidates listened with envy. A single outdoor dungeon could contain life-changing rewards. Meanwhile, Qin Xiu returned to the city with Lin Wei. The crowd immediately noticed Chunming was not beside her. Rumors exploded. People claimed Qin Xiu had finally abandoned the C-rank captain. Many were openly happy. In their minds, Chunming had enjoyed 1 day of free experience and lost his SS rank supporter. 2 S-rank members of the Abyss Squad approached Qin Xiu. They invited her to join them for the special provincial assessment. A complete high-ranked team seemed like the logical choice. Qin Xiu rejected them immediately. She already had a team. Before the argument could continue, the second-day ranking appeared. Yinhai City had produced hundreds of level 2 candidates. A small number had reached level 3. Several had reached level 4. Only 2 candidates stood at level 5. The highest positions appeared. Qin Xiu had performed brilliantly. Yet Chunming had moved even faster. The C-rank Shield Guardian took first place on the second day. Far from the cheering city, Chunming absorbed more rare resources and pushed his mental foundation toward its limit. Strange flames and concentrated mental energy filled his mental space as his absorption progress steadily climbed. At last, the final trace of resource energy entered his consciousness, and the progress reached 100%. Chunming opened his eyes as a clear, powerful sensation spread through his mind. The panel confirmed that his 20% mental foundation had reached its absorption limit and offered immediate skill awakening. Chunming chose to awaken, completing his preparation without hesitation and placing his future power in the hands of the foundation he had perfected.